Hello and welcome to Pleasure Talk Tuesday. My name is Ayana Celeste and I'm a holistic pleasure coach. So over the next 6 weeks, we're not going to just be talking about pleasure itself, but even deeper, we'll be discussing how we can create the space within ourselves to give ourselves permission to receive greater pleasure, and how do we create more opportunities for pleasure in our lives. So let's just start off by defining pleasure. How, as a holistic pleasure coach, do I define it? So I define pleasure as a full engagement with your senses. So let's break that down a little bit. So we have our 5 senses that we're most traditionally aware of and that are our most tangible senses. So our ability to see, smell, taste, hear, and feel or touch. And these all connect us to our external world. We also have the ability to feel our internal physical self. So the ability to feel heartburn or a stomach ache or achy muscles after a great workout. That's an additional sense that we have that informs us of slight changes in our body and our physical self, which is really important. Then we also have an additional sense where we can sense our energetic or perhaps even spiritual self. And that comes what we more know it as a sixth sense, the intuitive sense. And all of these senses have a huge role in how we experience pleasure. So now that we've defined what I believe are our senses that are utilized in pleasure, let's focus on engagement. So pleasure as a full engagement with our senses. So let's take the example of a really great meal. You go to a beautiful restaurant and it's known for its culinary art, and you get the first meal and it's this beautifully decorated plate and the smells and aromas are wafting up, and maybe you can feel the heat of the meal on your skin, and you take that first bite and it's just all of it together is an amazing, pleasurable experience. What's happening in that moment is that you're fully engaging these senses, but key is you're present to the experience. That's what it means to be engaged. So pleasure comes alive for us when we come alive through our senses and are present fully to them. So how do we come into presence with ourselves? How do we do that? It's a huge, sometimes it feels like a huge task when we're asked, just be present with yourself. The present is a gift. Yes, it is, but it's really hard to be there sometimes. And that's okay. But one tool that we can utilize to allow ourselves to be present, therefore fully engaged with our senses, and therefore allowing for greater pleasure in our lives, is by using our body, creating an awareness of the subtle shifts and changes in our body allows us to become present. Now, why is that? Well, our body feels, let's call them 2 extremes, right? One is alignment, and the other is resistance. So alignment with what? Alignment with your higher self. Alignment with your consciousness. Alignment with your source or your center. And some people can call this maybe not necessarily alignment, but being centered. When you're centered and you're in alignment, you feel clear. You feel open. You feel stable, all in your body. And maybe even your shoulders are back a little bit more. Maybe you're standing a little bit taller. And when you're in alignment, you feel less tension in your muscles, less tension in your head perhaps, or your stomach or your internal organs. But you're utilizing your senses within your body to inform you when you're in alignment. But when you're in resistance, it feels like tension. It feels like closure. It feels maybe heavier. And all of these sensations, all of our awareness of whether we're in alignment and therefore in the present, is in our body. When we're in resistance, we're in some sort of state of either past memory, so anxiety, or fear of the future, and either one of those situations is keeping us out of being in the present moment. And it's all coming from our ability to be aware of the sensations in our body. And so this is the key takeaway of today's first video. One of the key fundamental aspects to experiencing greater pleasure in our lives and allowing ourselves to receive greater pleasure is the relationship that we have to our body. Numero uno. The number one thing is your relationship to your body, and I like to call it our sensual intimacy. So the way that you build intimacy that you would with a partner, you're beginning to understand their language. You're bringing curiosity to the relationship. You're understanding how they function. You're developing conversation and dialogue and the ability to communicate. All of that is intimacy. When you build it with yourself, that sensual intimacy, it really informs you of when you're in alignment and when you're not, when you're present and when you're not, when you are allowing yourself, when you're creating the space to allow yourself to experience pleasure, and when you're not. So how do you build this relationship with your body? How do you develop this sensual intimacy? How do you develop the ability to know when you're in alignment and when you're in resistance? Well, there's a practice called mindfulness. And within mindfulness, one of the practices that you can develop is to do a meditation, a body scan meditation. You can go on YouTube and find thousands of them, ranging from 10 minutes to 30 minutes, maybe a little bit, even a little bit longer. But when you are doing this body scan, you're practicing mindfulness, which is bringing focused attention without judgment to the present moment and whatever you're focusing on. What this allows you to do, it allows you then to expand your awareness of the thing that you're focusing on. So for example, who says, when I'm asking you to focus on your pinky, have you ever focused really on your pinky unless it's been in pain? Probably not. But if I'm focusing on my pinky right now, what am I feeling? Okay, I'm feeling perhaps a little bit of a breeze coming off from the window. I can feel the musculature within my finger trying to prop itself up and maybe slightly moving. I can feel the joints. So feeling into parts of your body in a way that you never have. Imagine that. Being able to develop a deep sensual intimacy with yourself, a deep relationship with yourself, so much so that you can feel small, subtle shifts in yourself. What that allows you to do, first it allows you to see really the larger picture of, am I in alignment or am I in resistance? And then when you strengthen your mindfulness muscle through a body scan meditations, it then allows you to feel the subtle shifts and allows you to then understand, okay, what is it that I need? And it could be something as small as a really deep breath. But that's the thing. You're beginning to listen to what you need, what you want, what is being called through your body. When you're present to it, when you're in alignment, you become far more intuitive. So I hope you are able to receive any small nugget of information, and next week we'll still be talking about the sensual intimacy. We'll be talking about how engaging the breath supports this process of coming into the present moment, coming into alignment, allowing yourself to be fully engaged with your senses and therefore receive greater pleasure in your life. All right, thanks everybody. Bye.